Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Callie and I'm going to be doing my February wrap up. Another really good reading month in February. My stats were I read 29 books in the month of February with a total of 12,430 pages read. No audiobooks this month, so I got 0 hours for that one. For format, I had 20 print books with 9 ebooks. And I ended up DNFing 8 books in total. I only read 3 genres in the month of February, which was sci-fi, romance, and fantasy, which is kind of on par for me. So, without further ado, I'm going to rapid fire get through all of these books and what I rated them. The first book, and this is in the order that I read them throughout the entire month. The first book, starting off February with a bang, quite literally, is The Kraken Sacrifice by Katee Robert. I gave this 4 stars. This is just a fun monster romance. Next was my first reread of the month, and that is Goddess in the Machine by Lora Beth Johnson. Very fun sci-fi apocalyptic book. I ended up giving 4 stars, which is actually the same as I gave it the first go around. Next, I read its sequel, Devil in the Device, also by Lora Beth Johnson, and I ended up giving the sequel 4 stars. The series overall, obviously 4 stars. But a really strong and fun duology. Next, I read Fairest of Them All by Serena Valentino. I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. It was quick, it was short, but it was a really fun take on the Evil Queen. Next, I read Deep Burn by Kimberly Kincaid, the second book in the Station 17 series. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This was really fun, and I love the crime mixed with romance within this series. Next, I read Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I gave this 5 stars. It's a great story about grief, longing, and acceptance, as well as the overarching theme of love. Next, I read Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This is a very dark romance. I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. I was enthralled the entire time, but please check all warnings for this book and this duology. Up next, I read A Not So Meet Cute by Meagan Quinn, the first book in the Kane Brothers Billionaire Romance series. She's also an Apolycon author, and I ended up giving this 5 stars. Next, I finished The Kingmaker Chronicles by Amanda Bouchet by reading the 4th book, A Curse of Queens. I ended up giving this 4 stars. It was a really fun ending. It didn't quite feel like an ending, and we are following a completely different set of characters, which was really unique, but a little jarring in the beginning. Up next, I read Echoes and Empires by Morgan Rhodes. She's one of my favorite YA authors, and this is her brand new, I think this is a series or duology, which was really fun. Mystery mixed with archaeology, very Indiana Jones. Mixed with modern magic, and I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. Next, I have A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. This is a sapphic, Valkyrie, fae, in the modern world YA fantasy. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This was such a wild ride and just so much fun from start to finish. Next, I have Hunting Adeline, which is the second book in the Cat and Mouse duet by H.D. Carlton. Again, please check trigger warnings for this entire series. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This was really hard to read, especially the first couple hundred pages out of a almost 500 or 600 page book. So while it was very hard to read, I did really love the story and how everything wrapped up. Up next, I picked up The Play by Elle Kennedy. This was Hunter's Story, the 3rd book in the Briar U series, which is a spin-off series of the Off-Campus series. This one's definitely my favorite in the Briar U series thus far. I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. Next, I picked up So Not Meant to Be by Megan Quinn. This is the 2nd book in the Kane Brothers Billionaire Romance series, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. This is probably my least favorite in the entire series, but still really fun, witty, and very romantic. Next, I have Raelia by Lynette. This is the 2nd book in the Medoran Chronicles. This, I feel, is where our overarching plot really comes into play, and I really enjoyed it. It was, however, a bit slow, so I ended up giving it 4 stars. Next, I have Spice Road by Maiya Ibrahim. Was a really, really strong debut. I loved the atmosphere. However, the story and the plot were a little confusing, as well as the pacing was a bit all over the place. So I ended up giving this 3.5 stars, but I will be continuing with this series because I am very intrigued by the story and the character development. Up next, I have Say You Swear. This was our February Apolycon book club pick, and I gave this 2.5 stars. I hated this book. I trudged through it. I wanted to DNF it so bad, but I have a rule about DNFing book club picks, and I couldn't do it. I hated this book with every fiber of my being. So yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars, and that's being nice. Thankfully, I picked up Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan next. I adore Kennedy Ryan's writing. I gave this 5 stars. It is a beautiful story about love, grief, and loss, as well as forgiveness. And I just adored this story from start to finish. And I could not get enough of Kennedy Ryan. Whatever she puts in her books, it's addictive. Next, I have A Long Time Coming by Meagan Quinn. This is the 3rd and final book in the Kane Brothers Billionaire Romance series, following the youngest brother, and this one was my favorite in the entire series, so I gave this one 5 stars. Next, I have One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This is their follow-up, not necessarily follow-up, but their second book after Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I really, really loved. I didn't love this as much as I loved Red, White, and Royal Blue, but this one's plot was really cool. The romance to me felt a little thin, but I did end up giving this 4.5 stars because it was really fun. Next, I have my second reread of the month, and that is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I ended up giving this 4.5 stars, which is what I typically give this one when I do my rereads. And this is probably my least favorite out of the entire series, but I do love, this sets up everything for the entire series, so it's really fun to see all of the seeds that are planted within this book. Up next, I have A Ruin of Roses by K.F. Breene. This is an Apolycon author that I've pre-ordered from, so I wanted to read the series that I pre-ordered, which I ended up pre-ordering this series because Brittany really liked it, and it intrigued me. I ended up giving this 3.5 stars, and I am just currently in an obsession with this series. I am on book 4 right now. But it's a really fun, dark, very adult retelling of Beauty and the Beast with dragon and wolf shifters with woven throughout the story. Oh, and demons. Next, I read Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker. This is an adult Curse of Dark and Lonely, which I adored. I loved the plot within this story. I ended up giving it 4 stars because it's so enrapturing and intriguing, and the characters are phenomenally well written. Next, I read Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey, which is her newest book. I ended up giving this 4 stars. It's not my favorite Tessa Bailey book. This one felt a little weak to me. She's usually really good about her characterizations and love stories. This one felt a little insta-lovey to me, so it's not my favorite, but I did really enjoy it. Next, I picked up Midnight Mass by Sierra Simone. This is the novella, which is the novella follow-up to Priests. I was hoping this would give me more context into Tyler and Poppy's relationship, and it did a little, but I still feel like they have the least amount of substance as a couple in that entire series, so my favorite is still the Sinner couple. I ended up giving this 3 stars. It was fun, it's muddy, but it didn't really give me what I was looking for in the novella. Next, I read Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I give this 5 stars. This is my new favorite romance book of all time. I am obsessed with this book. I think about it every day. And I just have an unhealthy obsession, and now my entire TikTok For You page is just of this book. And I like it that way. So he's mute, and she speaks ASL, and she's the first person to try and communicate with him in this entire small town romance. It is beautiful, poignant, and I just sobbed through most of this book, and I loved every second of it. Next, I picked up A Ruinous Fate by Kaylee Smith. This is a debut that came out in January that I ended up pre-ordering solely because of the cover. It's beautiful. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This is a really strong debut. It did lull at times, but I love the story. It's about a girl who is told about her fate, and she says, nope, I'm out, and runs away with her friends. and it's great. There's this great ragtag team. The ending shocked me, and I am fully invested in this story now. Next, I have Throne of Ruin by K.F. Breene. This is the second book in the Rowan of Ruses, or it's the Deliciously Dark Fairy Tales series. So far, this one is my favorite book in the series. I haven't quite finished it yet. But I ended up giving this 4 stars. This is where we actually start to get more of our overarching plot, as well as really good character and relationship development. And the final book that I read in the month of February went out strong with Final Offer by Lauren Asher. I pre-ordered this in January, and this is the final book in the Dreamland Billionaires series, which is a billionaire romance essentially based on the concept if Walt Disney had 3 hot grandsons, what would happen? And we have these 3 books. All 3 books I've given 5 stars. I love every single one of these stories. They each bring a level of realisticness to a romance, but this one is the middle brother, Cal, who has a severe addiction problem. And then the romance is a second chance romance, as well as childhood friends to lovers mixed in with small town romance and forced proximity. I loved every second of Cal's journey. What I love about Lauren Asher's books is it's not always all about the romance. It is also about inner healing and self-awareness. And I adore that within her stories. Which is why this book is almost 600 pages, which is like 600 pages long. But it did not feel like it was 600 pages. I flew through this book and I loved every second. So I don't know if I mentioned, but I gave it 5 stars. So those are all the books that I read in the month of February. Really strong month. And I'm going on vacation later this month, so I will be definitely reading a ton on my Kindle, and I'm really excited to jump straight into that and just read a bunch while sitting on the beach, and it'll be great. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Wednesday, Friday, with the occasional Sunday, and I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!